Hello everyone, sorry for the slightly late start, my computer crashed on me. Here we are, E3 2017, and we begin with EA's press conference, which they're calling EA Play. I have the stream directly from EA on YouTube in front of us so that when it starts, we will know, and at that point, I will switch to full screen and stop talking. Um, until then, I'm going to leave it muted, and I will talk over the pictures of these people getting ready. So, EA. What I promised today was predictions. It was my hopes, my dreams, and that's what I'm going to give you. I was hoping we could have some people join us. I'm double checking on the chances of that now. And until that time, I will be by myself. Yeah, doesn't look like anyone else is going to show up for now. So, maybe hopefully in the post stream we'll get some other people to join us. Until then, it's just me. Well, as you can see on your screen, there are 4 games I don't need to predict because they are listed as the 4 games confirmed. Those being FIFA, Madden, Need for Speed, and Battlefront. I don't really have anything to say about FIFA and Madden, either prediction-wise or hopes and dreams-wise, because it's just going to be another year of FIFA and Madden. That, I guess, that is my prediction, and my hope would be that I'm wrong, and they surprise me with something cool and new. But that's probably not going to happen. So that is not what I predict. Then Battlefront 2, I believe, is the only one of these 4 games we have seen any footage for so far. They released a teaser trailer earlier in the year, released another teaser trailer, I believe yesterday it was, and it looks really nice. It looks like they are adding a single-player campaign, which was something that maybe the first game was not necessarily missing, but the first game was missing was content, and so a single player campaign makes this feel like a more fully rounded, fully featured $60 package, and so that's nice. Hopefully the multiplayer will be vastly expanded upon, though, as well. More modes, more maps. I would like to see the vehicles that you will almost certainly be able to drive be more than icons on the map. Same with some of the power-ups. It definitely felt like the first Battlefront title was a template, a proof of concept, if you will, we can do this, we can make something that is good and feels like Star Wars and not like Battlefield in space. And I think it did that, but it lacked the staying power in a large part due to a lack of a lot of real noteworthy progression and a lack of just, different stuff. The classic Battlefront series had the Galactic Conquest, I believe it was called. It might have been called something else, but it was a meta game of sorts with the Empire and the Republic fighting for control of a map, and so every battle added to that. And, a lot of games do similar things to that today, but it was, an interesting concept for the time, and it gives each match a bit more meaning. And so something like that might be nice. The other, I guess, thing that you might hope for, which probably they're still not going to be able to pull off, would be the space and ground combat occurring on the same map as was seen in the leaked preview for the canceled Star Wars Battlefront 3. And so, that would basically give them everything that fans, I think, had wanted at that point. So, that's Battlefront. And we'll get back to Star Wars. Let's just quickly say there's also a new Need for Speed coming. They gave it some dumb subtitle that I don't remember because it was so generic. And it's a new Need for Speed. We'll see how that is. I thought last year's Need for Speed was okay. I liked it better, a lot better, honestly, than Rivals. Maybe not as much as Most Wanted or maybe about as much. I actually like Most Wanted more than Hot Pursuit, so I'd probably say I liked it about as much as Hot Pursuit. So I thought it was okay. It was a solid game. We'll see how they do this year. So beyond those 4 announced titles, there are 2 obvious unannounced games to bet on, one being Visceral's Star Wars title that they showed off very, very briefly in a clip during a montage last E3. That's the one that Amy Hennig is working on with, again, her team at Visceral and the team at Motive. So I would not be surprised to see more footage of that, maybe an announcement of the title of that game, and a release date, if not exact, but maybe a 2018 date for that, maybe 2019, if they want to have it out to coincide with Episode 9. But we'll see about that. But I definitely think it will be here in some way, shape, or form. And then the final game that is probably a relatively safe bet would be the new IP that Bioware has been working on in Canada since they wrapped up Mass Effect 3. Something some people might not be aware of is that Mass Effect Andromeda was made by a new team that was assembled specifically for that task. The core Bioware team that is based in Edmonton is working on a new IP and has been since Mass Effect 3 shipped, and that IP has still gone unannounced, but it's been a good 5 years now. They should be at a point where they can at least show off some teasers and get people excited, and I really think they could use that good press after Andromeda really crashed and burned. But that's what you get when you hand off one of your most beloved series to a bunch of, fresh people who have never worked together as a singular team before, many of them probably lacking the level of experience you get with the highly experienced team in Edmonton, and also the very experienced and high quality team they have down in Texas that works on the Old Republic. So yeah, it was very much the B team working on that, and so I am excited to see what BioWare's main team has spent so many years working on, and also who they have leading it creatively. Casey Hudson, who had directed all of the games for that Edmonton studio since, I believe, KOTOR left short a couple of years ago, I believe. He started working on the IP and left in the middle of production, and so it'll be interesting to see who is leading development, and also for for a Bioware game, it's important to see who is working on the writing. Obviously, the Mass Effect universe and all of Bioware Star Wars stuff was written by Drew Caption, who is currently, at least last it was publicly revealed, was working in the Austin studio on the Old Republic still. But I guess it is possible that he has been aiding also in the writing of this new IP, and he's obviously a really brilliant writer and one of the key reasons why BioWare has seen so much success in the past decade. So, and he had temporarily left the studio to work on some novels during the creation of Mass Effect 3, and I think that really ended up hindering that game quite a bit. You look at what he had originally planned as the story for that versus what ended up occurring, and yeah, I think it's too bad that he needed to take that time off and couldn't see that series through to its conclusion. But he is, back at the studio working on Tor. Again, that was the last public announcement about what he was doing. But that was, I believe, last year, maybe even the year before. So, hard to know if he is still down in Austin or if he is up with the team in Edmonton. And so we will maybe, probably, almost certainly not get to know that today unless he is one of the people who will be presenting the game. But assuming he isn't, we probably won't know. But that will be something interesting to learn going forward. As far as the setting of the game, I really don't know. I think it's more likely sci-fi than fantasy. I think, if anything, it might be either like some sort of cyberpunk type thing, or possibly a post-apocalyptic thing. I can't see them doing another high fantasy like Dragon Age, or another pure spacefaring sci-fi like Mass Effect. Those exist already and have no names. There's no reason to create a whole new universe if that's all you're doing. So, on the same token, I don't think like a BioWare would go for a modern day spy thriller type RPG like Obsidian's God, I don't even remember what it was called. Alpha Protocol is what it was. Their spy RPG they made last generation. I don't think they'd go that route, so I'd think more likely we're looking at some sort of subgenre of sci-fi or fantasy, be that, could be cyberpunk, steampunk type stuff, could be maybe an alternate, like, Victorian London setting is a very common, game setting and movie setting, honestly, something like that, but I think it's going to be a unique and distinct from the Dragon Age and Mass Effect series, so that because they want consumers to be able to identify sort of the three separate series that BioWare makes, obviously in addition to the Old Republic, which is very Mass Effect like, obviously, in how much of Mass Effect was inspired by Star Wars. But I don't think they need another pure sci-fi, another pure fantasy. I don't think anyone would be excited to see that. And I also think it is fair to say that this will be a single-player thing and not an MMO. Hopefully, I pray. That would be on the hopes and dreams category. Please don't make this another MMO, and Don't make me understand the complexities of something like Tor. So, moving on, we have then 5 games that are fairly good bets. EA, I believe, has said that there'll be at least 8 titles at the show. So, as far as the final 3 go, I think it's safe to say that one will be one of their I don't remember what they call now. What used to be the EA Partners program, the division that published Unravel last year, that is working on I believe it's called Faye, and one other title right now. It could be one of those 2 titles that have been announced as part of the program that they show, or a new reveal. That's often something that EA likes to do and has done over the past several years, is use one of these partnership publishing games as a new IP reveal, just, to drum up some interest and to try to show that they're not this evil, monolithic corporate thing that people make them out to be, and that they have heart and soul. And so, you could definitely expect at least one of those 3 games to be in that category. It's entirely possible that 2 of the 3 are. We won't know for certain, but I predict at least one. Then, of course, the possibility we'll see at least one other sports title. EA obviously makes an NHL game every year, and they also occasionally attempt to release a basketball game as well as a UFC game. So, there's definitely potential for 2 of the remaining 3 games to be sports games as well. And then beyond that, the only other bet that would include something that is even rumored or confirmed to be in development is the other 2 or 3 Star Wars games that EA has confirmed they are making, that are earlier in development. One being the game that is being made entirely at Motive Studios, which is the studio that is in charge of their Star Wars business and is working on the single player for Battlefront 2, but they're also working on their own game that without help from an external studio. There's also a game being worked on by Respawn, makers of Titanfall, and I believe there's one other game that is confirmed to be in development, but I don't remember what it is. So, there are a handful more Star Wars games it could be. I think the best bet, though, are for the Star Wars game beyond Battlefront 2 to be Visceral's title, and anything else to maybe just be shown as part of a more general Star Wars montage, if any other footage from another game is shown at all. So, I think that is probably going to be everything we're going to see. It's possible that there's some new Sims or SimCity related thing from the Maxis team. I don't even think that's an official team anymore. I think it's just a brand at this point. But so, there could be, I guess, possibly something from that side of things. And beyond that, anything else would be a pretty interesting surprise. They tried rebooting Command & Conquer a while back. That ended up crashing and burning. I guess there's always a possibility they will show something in that realm off. This, I guess, is also, I believe, they have mentioned working on a big action open world thing at one point or another over the past couple of years. Could have something like that at the show. I think they need to really push some new IPs. They've been kind of resting on their laurels a bit for the past several years. They managed to get a lot of games out early on, as a lot of other publishers and developers have been struggling making the transition to the new consoles, and they heavily invested early on in Frostbite, and that let them put out a lot of titles relatively quickly. But last year we saw a lot of developers really hitting their stride, and so they're going to have to step it up. They are not going to be able to rest on default when other developers are finally managing to get a hold of the hardware, make some really interesting, exciting things. And so that is pretty much my predictions. This is going to start in about 3 minutes, it looks like. Once it does, I'll be stopping talking and I'll put my mic up. I will leave the stream running and well, I think I will close down the stream and then restart it as the post show once it ends. This video is just me streaming the thing directly from EA's YouTube channel, so you don't need to watch it with me. I'm not going to be talking over it. So, I will stop the stream, restart it afterwards. You can leave this. No, you can't leave this page open because it's going to be on a different page because it's going to be a different stream. Okay. Yeah, so just return to the Ludus Press event page and join me after the show ends. I'll probably give it about 5 minutes to get people time to get over here, and then we will discuss what does occur, and I will give people time to transfer over now and stop this stream. Thank you for watching. Let's hope that EA has a good show. They have, let's just say, a mixed history here. Sometimes their stuff is great, sometimes their shows are incredibly boring, so I'm hoping for a great one that does not spend half an hour talking about soccer or football or European football or any sort of sport. Goodbye.